Hello, welcome to What's Your Story? Every week I have a guest who I promise is authentic, genuine, and will offer insights, ideas, and practical information that you can put to use in your business and professional life immediately. Today we're going to tackle another important business question. How businesses can stay on top. How can a small business compete with companies that are much bigger and getting bigger by the hour through their mergers and acquisitions? We live in a business world that is dominated by uncertainty, volatility, ambiguity. So if you're leading a company in that environment, who do you turn to help your company grow and scale? Today, my guest is Candida Seasock, founder and chair of Executive Leaders for Advisory Boards. She has a very unique idea of how to attack this particular problem, and we're going to explore it. Candida, welcome to What's Your Story?
Thank you.
So let's get right into it.
Okay.
What is Executive ELABS, as you call it?
Yeah, Executive Leaders for Advisory Boards.
Explain what it's all about and how this is a little bit different.
Well, it came about when I started building advisory boards for my clients. So I decided after 4 or 5 years of that and 15 years of the regular business, I would bring together selected executives to be part of ELAB. So they're members or advisors that have sit on advisory boards, they've sit on board of directors, and they want to serve the community. And the purpose of ELAB is to basically expose the advisors and the companies and, in a sense, match them so we can help mid-sized small companies during their growth strategically.
So what's happening in the marketplace that has created demand for a service like this?
I think the word has carried that when a company is growing, a mid-sized company, a small company, they might not have board of directors, but there are advisors out there that can help and support that so that they stay vital, they stay financially secure, they keep their employees, they take care of the market, they take care of the customers, but they could be scattered all over the Delaware Valley. So bringing them together was the reasoning to give them the exposure, give other companies the exposure to this talent.
You mentioned boards. What's the difference between a classic board of directors and a board of advisors?
A board of directors is a board that is a governance board, fiduciary, and liability. And they have certain rules and regulations they must adhere to. Board of advisors are specifically chosen for that company, are the 4 pillars of a business: finance, marketing, sales, operations, human resource, and later on, industry expert in technology, depending on how you're building the board. That's the difference. It's not fiduciary, it's not liability. There is no governance chair. The boards that I built, I am not the chair, the owner of the company is the chair. I'm really the voice of reason, experience, the balance throughout the whole process of the advisory board meetings. Does that fill your thinking?
What does that owner expect when they bring a board of advisors on board?
The value of the board of advisors will bring is it normally could not hire each individual or any one of those or all of them to help you run your company to the next point.
Because we have a company that's probably constrained on how much money they can spend on outside resources.
Or how much money they can afford if they hire talent.
Okay.
But they might have the money to pay a stipend to an advisory board to have those minds help the company's growth.
Do they have to be in the same field? These advisors have to come from the same industry?
Normally, I try not to bring advisors from the same industry because the mixtures of advisors, the thinking, if they're not in the same industry, they bring a wealth of knowledge because they look at things differently. But at some point after the first year the board is in office, you might say, the board's created, you bring an industry expert in to help take that strategy, take that plan, that approach, that roadmap, and apply industry expertise to how they can give it growth.
Understood. So this is a relatively new concept. Have other companies done this before? Have there been other ELABs out there?
The concept, I'm not sure if it's new. I've been using it since I can remember, but and I know companies have advisory boards. I think how the model is on how we do it might be much more disciplined. To your question, the value that it brings, it's how it's pulled together and who is in it.
But you're the one that's sort of directing which advisors should be brought on
Yes.
board for the owner.
If I'm building that board, that's correct. And there's a whole process.
So what would an ideal ELAB client look like? What are the characteristics you're looking for in that owner or that company?
ELAB does not have clients. ELABs is advisors that have come together in a group. They're invited to be a member or to be an advisor, which is really a member of ELAB, to be part of our site, to be part of the tight-knit community of advisors. And we don't duplicate advisors. It is people, companies, that will tap into ELAB and hire those advisors to do either projects or be part of their board.
So if I'm an owner, what are the characteristics I have that would get you interested possibly in helping me?
You need more financial security. You need to take hold of the market a lot stronger. You want to do what's best for the employees. You want to become financially secure. You want to build a different presence. You want to build a different market. You want to build a different product. You want to transition into something that's either more stable in the market or allows you to grow with whatever you have in the market and socialize it. We have a program in ELAB. It's called Growth Company Catalyst. We bring in companies that are already revenue. They're not pre-revenue. They have revenue that really want to understand from the advisors how they can do better, in a sense, pick their brains. We showcase these companies, and usually 10 advisors at a time will volunteer to listen to the company's pitch so we can give them advice. At that point, that company can hire any of the advisors, or if they want to build an advisory board. I'm not the only qualified member to build an advisory board. The other advisors have done a fabulous job for their clients with how they mix the advisory board to support the client. That's given us a lot of visibility and it's helped a lot of companies.
Can you share with the audience a brief story about how this concept has really helped a company?
I can speak to the companies I have had that I've built advisory boards. They've grown, they've transformed. The employees have more financial security because the company has a process, has a motion, has a vision, and it's strategically with the approach and tactics getting there, so the company's growth is better. Your salary is stronger, your bonuses are better. So you get that security. When you have security in a company, employees want to give more. I mean, when you're delighted to go to work, you're going to give more than 8 hours a day.
Exactly.
If you're not delighted, you're just going to do your job and go home. So these growth companies, or these companies that I have helped with their growth, that's the feedback I get. They feel much happier in the position they're in, or if they've not advanced position.
What do the members of ELAB, what do they get from this experience?
As the ELAB members, we have a vision, and then we have rules of conduct and rules of whatever we want to call it for that day, that basically they get to know each other, because just coming to a meeting 6 times a year is not enough. If they all get to know each other, they can share business, they can put each other on advisory boards because they trust each other's thinking or credentials or something of that nature. They build a stronger, 45 we have now, It's a stronger team if they get to know each other. And therefore, they can serve their client better if I trust someone, and I trust all these advisors because, number one, I've used them. Number two, I've brought them into my clients. Number three, I've been friends with them, a lot of them for a long period of time. I can say to my client, hey, bring so-and-so in. He's an expert in manufacturing. He's an expert in supply chain. The clients that's hired me as their advisor want to know that I trust somebody to bring them in. And I think starting from trust, starting from conversation, starting from, yes, I want to grow, but I want to do it logically and systematically, all of it supports the mid-sized companies and small companies too.
So it seems to be there's a strategy in place that has is overarching over this particular dynamic. So in Growth Catalyst, you're bringing the companies in with your members of ELAB so that they can...
The ones that choose to listen to that company's pitch, yes.
And so,
sometimes things don't interest everybody in the group.
So my takeaway here is you're the one that really identifies the companies that the ELAB members may help. Is that fair to say?
Through the Growth Company Catalyst part of the organization, we usually get, I usually get tapped into, I'd like to talk to some of your advisor. We have a process that one of our member has done all the chairs of the committees have done fabulous jobs of pulling all this together. That basically we have a process when we bring them in. There's a certain questionnaire, there's certain knowledge. It goes out to the members. The members choose if they want to be part of that breakfast. It's usually a breakfast we do it over. And we try to keep it to 10 members. Otherwise, you can't have a conversation if you got, 40 of the members that all want to come.
We need to take a break. We need to hear from our sponsors. But we'll be back in a moment and continue our conversation with Candida Seasock about this interesting approach to helping companies grow. Be right back.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away, 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no-obligation Medicare benefits consultation, 856-226-4800.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.
Improve our workflow.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended Fleet Graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling in. Get started at fastsigns.com.
What do I want to be when I grow up? Maybe a musician? A veterinarian? Maybe an equestrian? A mommy? Well, why not be all these things and more? Consider joining me, Dr. V, with friends and colleagues as we explore a wide range of topics together. V is for variety, here on RVNTV.
There you go, Richard. Oh! Is that too hard for you?
No. Is it too hard for you?
Woo! We're playing catch now. Oh, shit.
Welcome back to What's Your Story? My guest is Candida Seasock. Candida is the founder and chair of executive leaders for boards and advisory boards, I should say. Now, you did a lot before this organization was founded by you. So could you go back a little bit in your history? Because there may be people in the audience wondering, so what does she know? Where does she come from that she's able to pull this off? So I have the benefit of knowing you, others don't.
Okay. I started basically like everybody else in a regular job 52 years ago. And I've had titles like CFO, CIOs, business development. And through all those companies, I learned to be creative and to think outside of the box. Several times when I lost my job, I started a company. So this is my third company. Oh. And when I started this, I decided that I was going to provide consultative services to companies and help them grow. And it was from those companies that I helped grow, then they would talk to me about, well, why don't you build my advisory board? Because if they're not a public company, they really didn't need a board of directors. They need a formalized advisory board that really keyed into them and their business and to help them grow.
So that suggests that these people know you, like you, and trust you enough to bring you in and to help them grow their business. So what role do you play with them?
I'm usually the company's advisor, the CEO's advisor. If there's a board, I play more of the voice of reason, the experience, the glue that keeps it going and together. I don't take the chair. The chair of the advisory board is always going to be the owner of the company because it helps that owner to run an outside group, in a sense, of executives that are actually helping him think out how he's going to take this company, he or she is going to take this company forward.
They're really focusing on the business rather than being in the business,
yes,
so to speak.
Correct.
So what is the value that your team delivers, ELABS delivers? What are you hearing from your clients? What are they taking away from this whole thing?
I would say the comments that are across the board is that the value they're getting is they have a well-experienced human being in whatever that discipline or that pillar of their business is, whether it's a CFO or the operational. They've been there, they've done that. They can help them not fall into the same holes that they might have had when they were out there being CEOs or COOs. And some of the advisors, by the way, are from $80 billion companies.
Wow.
So, and some of the advisors are from, we have one that's a CEO of a $10 million company, and we have several of them that are COOs and CEOs from billion-dollar corporations that actually want to serve the smaller market and help them to grow and become strong. So they bring a wealth of knowledge that most mid-sized small companies don't have because they haven't been there. And most people that start a company might have started it out of college, or they might have started after they lost a job. There's a wealth of knowledge you don't have, and sometimes you really don't want to experience the downs. You want to experience the ups a little bit faster.
Most owners that start their own company, they're really building off their passion. They could be an engineer and they got a great widget, but all of a sudden they get to a point where I got to run this business.
That's right.
They realize that there are gaps that need to be filled.
They can build a product, but it doesn't mean they can take it to be $100 million. They can build a service. They can build a technology. They're the geniuses behind building the company, or they're second generation and they want to keep the second generation. They want to make it a third generation, but they have never been there. They haven't done the running of the road. They haven't done the marathon. So we help them get there.
You hear a lot in the news about companies scaling. How does that concept apply to what you and the ELAB team does?
When it applies to me, scaling is an open word. You can scale, you can think of scaling all you would like to think about it, but unless you have a strategy, you have a roadmap, and you have tactics, you can't scale. So you might have a great product or a great software package, but to scale it is a whole process that cannot be disrupted if you want to get there. It has to be set and you have to drive it.
So I'm curious as to what mistakes have you noticed companies making that have caused them either to stop growing or to go in the opposite direction?
There are, operations-wise, they might bring in their buddies, their best friend, people they know to help them at the beginning. But sometimes the people that they know, or that came from the first generation, or that was a partner who was a best friend, sometimes that's not enough because they don't have the minds of people that have been out there and have done that. And a lot of these CEOs are wise enough to say, hey, we have to bring in other talent. And restructuring a company and rebuilding it and taking it forward, there's a lot of thinking that goes behind it on the human element. You know, it's your employees that help you with the growth. It's your employees that take you forward. If you can't take care of them while you're doing this growth move, you might say, your intellectual property is gone. And without employees, you don't have a company. You could have the best product, but somebody has to make it.
I think employees today want to be part of something that's growing, something bigger than themselves, making
Yes.
a contribution beside their own
Yes.
self-interest. And this, you're helping a company adjust and prepare for that.
And you have all ages across employees today supporting a company, whether it's big or small.
Somebody said there are 5 generations in the workplace.
There
in
is.
certain places.
They are correct.
So they're all not thinking alike. So somebody has
No.
to give them structure. So it has been said of you that you see stuff that other people don't see.
Mm-hmm.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
I think it's let's see, people I reported to would always say I'd find a needle in the haystack before anybody else. The key to the needle in the haystack is not just finding it, it's how do you pull it out without the haystack falling?
That's very true. You're disruptive, but
I
not
like-
that disruptive.
Correct. You do it, it's an evolution. It's not a revolution because that brings a company down. It's an evolution of change. It's an evolution of growth. It's a talent. I don't know, talents are given to you by the gift of God. I don't know how I got it. I didn't get height. I didn't get the best, voice in expressing myself, but I can walk into a company and know exactly what's causing certain problems and who is causing it without even talking to them. I think it's a gift.
More importantly, you help them get results.
That's the key, to use this gift to help companies protect themselves by growth and having good financial security. Not just for the owners, that's the minor part. The owners are always going to have their financial security. The employees, care of the employees is most important.
I always ask my guests, what is your why, your purpose? And I think you just defined it.
I think I did.
And it must give you a tremendous amount of satisfaction.
It does. I mean, I always feel good whether I stay in a company for 2 years or 5 years when I see, things that says to me the company is growing, the employees are happy, they're doing things. And now with social media, it's so easy for me to see what my clients are doing, what the employees are saying or not saying. And that feels good. Doing good feels good.
Exactly correct.
I'm trying to get rid of the negatives.
So if you were to hold a luncheon, who would you invite?
You asked me that when I first came in today, and I've gone through from every top person in the world to every bad person in the world, and I finally have come up with the answer. I would like to bring back all my bosses, all the managers, all the partners in accounting firms, because I worked for several accounting firms, that they were the mentors and we didn't use the word in those days, that actually let me think outside of myself, allow me to be more than I thought I could be. I like to come back and talk to them and see if they remember why this little Italian girl meant so much to them, to coach her, to mentor her, so she would always have financial security. Because when I lost a job, I never panicked. I just started another company.
They gave you the self-confidence.
They gave me the
They
self-confidence.
believed in you.
Yes,
A little Italian girl from Italy.
true.
Your family was very instrumental in your development, as
My
I
mother
recall.
was very brave in coming here with 2 daughters working in a factory and giving us a life and an education more than we could have gotten in Italy after the war. You know, just because the war ended in '45, it doesn't mean that Italy or Milan, Italy, where I was born, it doesn't mean that all the buildings went up overnight. People suffered for 10 years and beyond.
What advice do you have for women in the workplace? Because you rose to some fairly high levels in corporations based upon merit, what you did,
Yeah.
how you contributed.
Yeah. I can only give you what I did. I never let the negatives pull me down. If I worked for a manager that was negative about me being a woman, I'd leave a company and go get another job. I blazed my own trail systematically without hurting anybody in the background. And I've always told women, be true to yourself, be true to what you want in your career, and don't let anything take you down. And don't become like the person who's trying to take you down. So you can do it quietly, and you can do it systematically, and you can gain a lot of momentum. Another group I started is WCXO, which is Chief Women Officers. And that's another group that one meets monthly. They basically are women helping women. So there's several generations in that group, from 35 to me, which is past 70, and they collaborate with their knowledge to help each other out. And to me, that's very rewarding, because women, I don't think, did enough for each other in my earlier career, but now they're becoming that it's important for them to help other women.
I think we're going to end on that particular point. We're running out of time. But I want to thank you for coming in. This is your opportunity to look into the camera and ask anything of the audience, make any final comments you'd like to make.
I would be pleased if anybody in the audience is interested in ELAB, Executive Leaders for Advisory Board, to look at our website and give me a buzz, call me,
How
I'll
would they
connect
get in
you.
touch with you?
Well, my phone number is 609-471-1188. That is 609-471-1188. I'm on LinkedIn. You can text me. I'll call you right back. I'll talk to you, and I'll figure out how we can help.
Again, I want to thank you. The audience benefited greatly from this. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this with me.
Well,
Thank you.
It was an honor for me to have you here, believe me.
Thank you.
That's another show on What's Your Story. Every week, I bring you a guest who's authentic and genuine, with insights and practical advice that you can put to use in your life, professionally or personally. So again, thank you. And again, till next week, this is What's Your Story.
Thank you.